Hello and welcome to Wisdom Bites. Hope you're well. Thank you once again for joining us. Very much appreciated. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at the shorter term picture, exactly what's been going on in the last few weeks with Bitcoin and where we're heading towards the end of the month over here. We'll also have the usual bigger term picture so that we don't take our focus off the Bitcoin market going forward in the next few months. Also, quite a number of people like Ben Tahiti07 here asking about the Bitcoin investor tool, and he's basically asking, can you please remember how to set the Bitcoin investor tool for the red line? It seems quite different between your setting and the original one. So I'll have a look at that and I'll show you exactly what my settings are and the other alternatives that you've got there. And I'll show you exactly what's been happening to the US dollar since Bitcoin started to have a rally from the 8th of October. I'll also give you a little bit more insight into some of the altcoins that we've covered on this channel in the past. And finally, in today's Wisdom Bite, I'm going to be covering the roadblocks to success and why these roadblocks here need to be smashed down before we can achieve the success that we crave. Number 6 on these roadblocks is a bit of a touchy subject, so if that sounds interesting, then without further ado, pause the video, get yourself a cup of tea, don't forget your Snickers bar, and let's get cracking. Okay, so we'll start off on the 1 hour chart here. As I mentioned in the last video, we were forming a inverse head and shoulders pattern on this neckline here. And I said that once we break out of here, then we're going to have an impulse move towards the top. And if we look at the bottom here, the break from the neckline was followed by quite a bit of volume. However, since the break over here, the volume has just totally plummeted here, and hence this falling price that we've got over here. Now, usually, as we know, whenever we have a falling volume, that's a prelude to a big move up. So it may well be that we come back down to retest this neckline here before we take that impulse move to the upside. As you can see with the volume here, when the volume fell down here, that's when the impulse move comes. So over here, volume fell down here, the impulse move came to the downside over here. And similarly, as you can see, every time the volume falls, we get an impulse move either to the upside or to the downside. So be aware that there's falling volume here and we're waiting for an impulse move. Will it be to the upside or will it be to the downside? That is the million-dollar question. Maybe moving to the daily chart may provide some answers. Having a look on the daily chart, we can see quite clearly that the Bitcoin price has been meandering in this channel here, which is an ascending bear flag. So we would expect the price to break to the downside. But within this flag, as you can see quite clearly, some very prominent patterns are developing. The first one is this one here. So when we came into this channel and broke out from the top, and once we broke this support line here, it went to the bottom of this channel here. Then we created another channel, as you can see here. And again, we got to the top of the channel. And then as soon as we broke this blue line here, this support line, we came to the bottom of the channel again. Once again, we tried to get back up towards the top of the channel, but this time we didn't make it to the top, but we came against this resistance here and we came back down. And it was at this red candle that I did the last video. And I said in that last video that more than likely, we're going to be coming back down and testing this line as support before, towards the end of the month, coming back and testing this upper line here. And the reason why I said that was to do with the Bitcoin investor tool line, which is heading towards this end here. As you can see with the Bitcoin investor tool line here, it seems to be falling right into place with our predicted price target at the end of this month of 71,000, which is around this mark here. And I said quite clearly from the last video that we're going to be coming towards testing these lines here, and this will be coinciding with this red line the Bitcoin investor tool line, as well as this top resistance line of this channel here. Which way it will go, we don't know. My prediction is that we're going to get rejected here. As I've said in many of my last videos, we got rejected here at the red line. From a probability point of view, we have a higher degree, I think, of breaking down back towards the downside here. So only time will tell. This purple line is the end of the month, 31st of March. So this is where all the action is heading towards for Bitcoin. We're going to be winding ourselves up here and seeing what happens over here. This is where the critical time is going to come. And if we look at the pivots, you can see quite clearly as well that the pivots are also coming towards the confluence of the end of the month as well. So the pivots here is predicting around about the 71,100, 71,200 level. The Bitcoin investor tool is also coming towards this level, and the price is also winding itself towards this level. Let's see what happens from here. Everybody has their own strategy to play this as they want. My job is to just point it out to you, what I think is going to be happening around here. If we have a quick look at the trend on the 4-hourly chart, this is one that I really like to use because that really tells us a very accurate picture of exactly which direction Bitcoin is heading. As I've mentioned many times in these videos, that as soon as we get above these ribbons, we tend to have a very good chance of a uptrend for the next few weeks. And we've just broken out above these ribbons here. So could this now be the catalyst towards our target of 71,000 up here by the end of this month? So it looks to me as though it might be messing around for a few more days here before we go up to that side. But the ribbons are certainly showing that we're in an uptrend, and we're now, if you can see, the ribbons are now pointing to the upside as well here. So the momentum is shifting more towards the upside. Also, if you have a look, we create this W pattern here, the double bottom pattern, before we take off. And we've just done that here again, double bottom pattern, and we've gone above the ribbons. So this looks to me as though the momentum is now moving towards the upside, towards our target again. That is the same double bottom pattern that I mentioned in the last week's videos, that we're going to be doing this, creating this double bottom pattern here before we move towards the 71,000 mark. So it looks as though we're going to be coming back towards these levels here in the short term, in the next day or two, even today, and then creating the fuel to go up much higher. Let's wait and see. Okay, so one of my comments I got in the last video, and I got a few others very, very similar. So I thought I'd highlight this one here by Bentahiti07. And he's basically asking, can you please remember how to set the Bitcoin investor tool for the red line? It seems quite different between your setting and the original one. Okay, so regarding the red line, which is the Bitcoin investor tool line, there are 3 options. So when you actually type in Bitcoin investor tool here, you have these 3 options. The one I use is the BitSwift one over here. The other Bitcoin investor tool that you have as an option is this one here at the top. They both have slightly different settings. So if I put them both side by side, you can see how close they are. So if I've already got this one on my screen here, so if I use this one to give you a comparison, so this is the one I've already got on there. So you can see now you've got 2 red lines. The one I tend to use is this top red line, which is by BitSwift. This one here, the top one here. So depending on your settings, you can set these to whatever you prefer. So if you go for this red line at the top, which is the one I tend to use. So in the last time when the Bitcoin price came up to it, we didn't quite manage to hit the red line with the price action. And I said that when it comes up to this red line, we're more than likely going to get rejected. However, the other line, we had actually encroached the red line there. So the price did actually meet up to those. So what are the settings for these? You can set these to whatever you want to. I tend to use the default settings because they're done for a particular purpose. Obviously, you can use either of those 2 settings. In the settings that I've got on here, in the Bitcoin investor tool, the one I use is the top red line, and that is basically, it's a 2-year moving average, and it's set at 730. Now, if you wanted to, you can actually, if you want the red line to have actually hit the price action over here, you could set that by taking it to a higher setting. And as you can see, the price is moving, hit the price action there. So it's at around about the 739. So if you wanted to reset it, you could do, and then you go into the defaults and then save it as a default if you wanted to. So it's up to you, but I'd rather keep it at the 730 level just for consistency basis. If you wanted to get the third option, which isn't available on this chart, you would have to go to the 2-year moving average multiplier. Obviously, you've got quite a lot of options here, but the one that you want is look into Bitcoin, which is this one here. And then this will give you the chart. So this was available on the trading view part, but it isn't available there anymore. But you can still get it here. So as you can see, the price is coming up to the red line over here. And we got rejected once before, and we're coming up to it again. And the chances are, as I've said, there is a high degree of probability that we're going to get rejected here. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But certainly you can get this Bitcoin investor tool. So I hope that's cleared up all the confusion around the Bitcoin investor tool. If we have a look at the MACD, to look at which direction it's going, as you can see on the longer term time frame, the weekly chart, it's looking quite bullish here. However, in the short term, if you look on the daily chart, you can see that it's turning a little bit bearish. And as you can see with these bars, they're going down, as well as the color is changing to the lighter green here. It may well be that we have a correction here, moving into the red bars down here, as well as the price falling. But there is something else brewing on the RSI chart that I need to bring to your attention as well. Now, on the daily chart, as well as the weekly chart, and I'll show you that in a second, but on the daily chart, as you can see quite clearly, we have a bearish divergence. That's when the price action has moved up, but the RSI has moved down. So there is a clear divergence there, which looks like it wants to play out over here. So maybe in the next few days, we do see a fall in the price, maybe down to the $50,000 to $55,000 mark before we start moving up. And here on the weekly chart, you can see quite clearly there is divergence. These bearish divergences do give a very strong indicator as to which direction the price for Bitcoin might be going in the next 7 to 10 days. If you want to support the channel, then please click on any of my videos, and then below the videos you'll find a box called Show More, which gives you a description box, and in that description box is the affiliate link with Etoro that I have. So I partner up with Etoro because that's the main exchange I use for all my investments. These are the reasons why I tend to use Etoro. It's a very simple exchange to use in terms of depositing money and withdrawing the money, as well as trading if that's what you want to do, as well as for long-term investing, which is what I tend to do. So if you want to support the channel, please click on the partnership link, and then what you'll do is you'll get this box here, and then you can basically put your username, email and password and just fill in the form there. If you like any of my videos and you find value in them, then please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. If we have a look at the angled volume profile to see exactly where we are, there could be an opportunity to buy for those people still looking to get into Bitcoin at these price levels. So let's have a quick look at that. As I've shown you many times before, you can use this angled volume profile to actually time your trades to come in and out of the Bitcoin price. As you can see quite clearly that whenever we fall below the angled volume profile, there usually is an impulse move to the upside. Same here. So these would have been very good opportunities to have bought if you were waiting for positions to get into Bitcoin. Currently, as you can see, we're just in the middle towards the top end of this angled volume profile. And as I've just shown you with the various indicators, the direction of travel in the next few days for the Bitcoin price looks to be going more towards the downside. And if it falls below this level here, which is at around about the $53,000 mark, that would present a very good entry point if that's what you're looking for. So I thought I'd just point that out and bring that to your attention. If we have a look at the Stochastic RSI, which is slightly different to the relative strength index, generally speaking, both of them are momentum indicators showing overbought and oversold positions. So these are obviously at the top are overbought positions, and these at the bottom are oversold positions. However, generally speaking as well, relative strength index, the RSI, is used in trending markets where they're going up or down, whereas the stochastic RSI are used for sideways markets, which is what we've got at the moment currently. We're just going sideways here, although this is where it's more useful for the RSI to be used. Currently, the stochastic RSI is telling us that the momentum shift on the daily chart is moving towards the top side here. So there's a bullish cross coming up here. And if we look at the weekly chart, it gets even more interesting because we're really at the bottom of the channel here. So that's telling us that it's actually oversold, and the cross coming up there is quite clearly a bullish cross. So we can see that the next few weeks are going to be quite bullish, but obviously in the short term we could have a minor correction here, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. We'll keep monitoring these indicators to give us an overall bigger picture of the direction and the momentum of the Bitcoin price. Okay, moving on to the Bitcoin log growth curves. On the monthly chart, we can see quite clearly, as I mentioned in the past few videos, since the month close of this candle here, that we closed above this green line, and this current candle is now coming up to this white line, which is at 63,000. Will we get rejected at that point, or will we move further up to the next line, which is at the 75,000? Well, only time will tell, but we need to be aware of this because we need to look at this price movement here in relation to what's happened over here. As you can see, the last time we crossed the green line was 3.5 years ago. And at that point, we were only 4 candles away, 4 months away to the top of the market. So we need to be aware of this. And obviously the previous market to that once we crossed the green line here, we were 7 candles away. So we are only a matter of months away by the looks of it, based on historical facts, from actually topping out over here. So we need to keep our eyes firmly fixed on what's happening here so that we don't lose focus going forward. So this is the overall picture with Bitcoin. This is our target for the end of this year. This line is at the end of this year. We're expecting a $300,000 target for Bitcoin. We moved from this bull market, the pre-parabolic phase, to now the parabolic phase. So we're at this point here now, and this is exactly clearly where we're moving towards. So please don't take your focus off the bigger picture, because we need to know exactly when we get to our target by using our exit indicators, exactly when to get off before the market turns downwards for the next bear cycle. A quick look at the dollar. As we can see quite clearly with this chart, the pink line here is when the Bitcoin rally started around the 8th of October last year. And since then, as you can see, even before that, the dollar was already falling. It consolidated for a while, but obviously since then, this is what it's doing. Looks like the dollar seems to be heading in this channel here, but this is a bull flag here. So somewhere along here, we're going to see a breakout of the dollar. And that seems to be wanting to coincide with towards the end of this year, when Bitcoin reaches its blow off top. So we'll wait and see, but this is very important to keep an eye on the dollar, because as we know, the dollar has an inverse relationship with Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin is going up, the dollar is going down. So when the dollar starts to go up, that's when Bitcoin will be starting to go into this next bear phase. So let's keep an eye on this as well, so we don't lose the overall bigger picture with Bitcoin. And conversely, with the Dow Jones index, that goes hand in hand with Bitcoin. As you can see from the 8th of October, when the Bitcoin rally started, the Dow Jones has been going in the same direction as Bitcoin. So while this is doing this and the dollar is doing this, we know that everything is in place. But when they reverse, that's when we need to really be aware of what to do when we get to those points where the actual trends start to reverse. A quick look at some of the altcoins. We mentioned NEO in the past. This is the weekly chart. As we know, we broke this neckline here. I gave you this tip around the $23, $24 mark. We're up to, so far, $44 with NEO. So we've doubled up basically. And we're heading in the right direction. So no worries at all. Everything's in place for a big rally for the next 6 to 9 months, hopefully. Same thing with Zcash. I tipped it around this neckline over here. We're up to about 143. We've got a long way to go yet. So this is definitely heading in the right direction. Again, you've got to take a longer term view. If you take a shorter term view, then always remember with all the altcoins, they are the passengers in the train which has been driven by Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin goes up, they follow suit. And when Bitcoin goes down, they also follow suit. So if Bitcoin's coming down, this will start coming down as well. So as long as the Bitcoin rally is towards the upside, towards its target of 300,000, then we will be getting this direction. However, they will be interspersed with obviously falls in the market and little minor corrections along the way. Onto Polkadot, which was one of our tips a few weeks ago. Since then, we've been forming this bull flag here. So we had a run up here. We're having a breather for the next leg up. So again, looking very bullish, very good is Polkadot. I think in one of the comments, somebody mentioned Aave. I thought I'd just very quickly cover that. You can see quite clearly that this is a fantastic looking chart. It's had a massive run up since November last year, and we're now taking a breather in this bull flag. It looks quite clear that as soon as Bitcoin breaks up, then this will be also one that will be follow suit. So it's looking very healthy to go much higher is our way. And finally, onto our wisdom bite for today. I'm going to be covering the roadblocks to success. Have you ever wondered why in virtually every society in the world, only a very small percentage of people are actually millionaires? If you look at the figures here, in the whole world, there are 0.9% millionaires. Obviously, in certain continents, it's much more. So in North America, which is basically Canada and the USA, you've got 7.3%. And in Europe, you've got 2.3%. And in the rest of the world, they're 0 point something in terms of the millionaires in their population. So on the whole, there's a very small percentage who are financially successful. In the last video, our wisdom bite was looking at basically how to attract success into our life by avoiding things like complaining, ignorance, procrastination, fear of failure, and how we can develop the courage and the self-belief, as well as have a real purpose in life, which will actually propel us to a much better outcome in life. I also mentioned that success is not a destination, but it's actually a journey. And on that journey, success is something that we attract by the person we become. And in order to become the person who attracts this kind of success, you have to rinse out some of the roadblocks that actually stop you from being successful. These are the roadblocks that actually stop 95% of the population from becoming successful. The first one is your past. What I mean by your past is that you mustn't allow your past to control your future. We should learn from our past, but don't be dictated to by the past. We all have our pains and problems and difficulties and issues in our past, but we must never let those affect our future. We must leave the past behind so that it doesn't ruin our future. The second roadblock to our success is other people's opinions and judgments. As I've said a few times before, we are the average of the 5 people that we actually spend most of the time with. So other people's opinions will always affect our way of thinking, our mindset. But when you consider that over 95% of people are unsuccessful, they're not where they want to be, why let their opinions affect the direction of our travel in our life, our vision, our objectives, our goals, our targets? So you mustn't let other people's opinion influence our direction of travel. Because if you do, you could end up on the wrong road. The third roadblock to our success is limited beliefs that we have in our own minds. We have been conditioned, whether we like it or not, we have all been conditioned by the family that we've grown up in, by the friends that we've kept, the schools that we've been to, the teachers that have come along on our journey. And what they've done is they've conditioned our belief system to the extent that they have. Ask yourself this question. All those people, your families, your friends, the relatives, the schools, all the people that you have met up to now, how many of them were successful on any measure? Just imagine the limitations they have put on our minds along that journey. The main thing to remember here is that you must remember that there is nothing that you cannot do, and there is nothing that you cannot have, and there is no one that you cannot be if you believe in yourself. And when you do believe in yourself, guess what? Your potential becomes unlimited. The fourth roadblock to success is money. Now, you might have heard people say that money is the root of all evil. For those people who say those things, ask yourself the question, financially, how successful are they? And you'll usually find that it's the unsuccessful people who tend to say those types of things. You won't hear successful people who are financially secure and financially successful will never mention that, because the mindset is this. For those people that don't have money, you will hear the comments, things like, I can't afford this and I can't afford that. Whereas the people who have the money, their mindset is to use the word how. How can I afford this? And how can I afford that? Because the first part, which says I can't afford, what they do is they shut their own minds completely by saying that there is no possibility, there's no potential, there's no opportunity to actually have abundance of money. Whereas the second group, how can I afford it? Just by opening that up with that one word of how, opens up possibilities. It makes you look for opportunities. It makes you look for ideas and opens up your subconscious mind to look at things that might bring you into abundance of money. So what I would say is, when it comes to money, remain neutral. Money isn't the evil, it's what you do with it that's the evil. The fifth roadblock to success is forgiveness. Now you might think, what is that doing there? You will be absolutely shocked that those people who hold grudges, who won't forgive anybody, who feel they've been slighted, those who have bad feelings towards others, people who want revenge towards others, well, I have something very important to say to you. If you don't forgive, those people who don't forgive is like carrying a sack of potatoes, but instead of the potatoes, they've got bad feelings and negative energy that they're carrying around with them. And the only person that is harming that lack of forgiveness is themselves. So take away this block that's stopping you from being successful. If you're thinking about taking revenge and feeling bad towards people or holding grudges, this will never get you anywhere at all. And finally, a touchy subject, relationships. That's our final roadblock to success. Obviously, there are many roadblocks of success. These are some of the main ones that I wanted to cover today. I have seen many people being ruined by bad relationships that they've had. Obviously, relationships can be good as well. What I want to highlight here is that if you are the type of person who needs another person to complete you, then you will always be a moment away from a breakdown. You will be a moment away from unhappiness when that person leaves you or causes you stress and problems and difficulties. You must develop enough mental strength to get to the point where you don't need anyone to make you happy. Successful people are those who are very happy in their own environment. In my experience of life, the one roadblock that really holds most people back is this one here, the past. So all I would say is, for the majority of the people out there, please leave the darkness of your past behind so it doesn't block the light of your future. Your past is gone. It's water under the bridge. Whatever happened in the past, whether unjust or cruel or harsh or whatever, reliving the events of the past will not change it, and therefore it will not do you any good. If someone did you wrong, the only way you can win is to let go and move on. If you continuously live in the victim's story, which is what people do whenever they mention their past, oh, you don't know what's happened to me, or you don't know this, and or you don't know that, what they're really saying is they want to live in the pain of the past. The problem is that the only person who is going to be harmed by that is themselves. If you park your emotions in a bad place in the past, you will continuously feel the pain and the hurt of that. However, if you park your emotions to a point where you think to yourself, what can I learn from my past? Then you will learn and grow as a person and move very quickly towards a path to success. What I want people to take away from today's wisdom bite of the roadblocks to success is to knock these blocks down. Don't be affected by these things. Keep a neutral mind. And once you break these blocks down here, that will create the smooth passage to your success. Okay, so we'll wrap it up there. Thank you once again for watching. If you found value in this video, then please do remember to like and subscribe and to turn on the notification bell. And if you have any comments, questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.